Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Bourbon Street. We're back here at the Jackie Robinson Foundation Afternoon of Jazz, sponsored by Anheuser-Busch and Companies. I hope they send us some money. No, I'm just joking. We're here with Sharon Robinson, daughter of Jackie Robinson. She has a new book called Stealing Home. Raise it up a little bit higher.
That's right.
And tell us about your new book, Sharon.
Well, thank you so much, Andrew. Yeah, we are here with Jackie Robinson Foundation Day with a little bit of rain, but we've got 5,000 people out there, and we're selling my book today, and proceeds are going to the Jackie Robinson Foundation. The book is a family memoir about talks mostly about our family after the baseball years, and it's the first time we've talked about the family story. And it's important because it talks about families and the strength of our family and my father as an individual, not just as a baseball player.
Now, your family did go through some hard times. Jackie, of course, with racism in baseball. Your brother had a hard time with drug abuse. How did your family stick together and go through all these tribulations and trials?
Well, I think that's the exciting part, Andrew. My father and mother both believed in moving forward and not getting caught up on the obstacles. And so
you're all right. Let's bring it up a little higher.
So when we hit an obstacle in our family, we learn from them, and actually what it helped us to do is to come together as a family and begin to talk about what was going on within the family and how we can help the person that was in most trouble get through it.
And the whole family was supportive?
Absolutely, yes. My parents led the way, and like when Jackie was arrested, it was the three of us went to the jail, and we got him out, and we then took him to the hospital, and we got him some help. So yes, the whole family was supportive. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say that's kind of how our family's been from the beginning. When my father died and my mother formed the Jackie Robinson Foundation, my brother David and I joined in that effort. So we're both on the board of directors. My brother comes over here to sell his coffee. My mother and I go out and help him. When we're selling my book, my family's there, help behind me. So we really are a very strong family.
How many members of the family are there?
Well, there's my brother David, was my actually younger brother, and my mother and myself.
Oh, okay. And you said David's here today?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
And we have a host of grandchildren.
You have children too?
I have a son who's 17. My brother has 7 children. The last one was a baby boy. And my older brother had 1 child.
Now, when did you have time to write the book?
Well, it took me over 10 years to do it.
Oh, okay.
So I worked on it consistently, began writing in 1989, but I worked on doing research and interviews prior to 1989. So you have to just be persistent about it, because I also had to work, full-time and raise my son. So
did the family play a part as far as making of this book, writing of the book?
Well, I certainly interviewed my family. No, they didn't have it. No, it was really very personal. So I interviewed them for the book, but I kind of didn't let them read it until it became in, when I was finished with it was in manuscript form, because I knew I needed to write it and get it all out before, anyone really looked at it. So it's quite a personal book.
Last question: what was the most difficult time during that period that you wrote the book, as far as with the whole family's life situation?
Well, I think the most difficult time was writing about my father and when he was sick. I think one of the stories I tell is a time he took me to the Apollo Theater for Martin Luther King celebration, and Jesse Jackson was on his Men's Day celebration. My father put me in a front row, and we got there early, put me in a front row in the theater, and then he went upstairs to talk to his buddies. He came back down, and the people had started filling in, and I knew he was sick, but he was standing at the end of the aisle, and he absolutely couldn't see me. So I had to stand up and kind of wave to him to let him know where I was. And he had almost lost his eyesight at that point. He was almost completely blind. And it kind of forced me to realize how sick he really was. And so that was, hard to retell those kinds of stories. It was interesting. It wasn't as hard for me to retell my brother's story as people may think it was, because I learned to understand my brother even better, and I felt like I was clarifying. People wonder how we could have had so much in terms of material things, and parents that loved us, and then end up, with such a crisis in our family. But I began to understand how that happened in the process of writing it, through interviewing his friends, through reading my brother's own words, and it made me feel, really good about my brother, even better about my brother.
Well, it shows we all have problems. Even the Kennedys and the Nixons had problems. Because Barbara Bush, don't forget, went to rehab also during her time when she was under the presidency.
Yeah.
So we all have problems. It doesn't make a difference how much you have or how little you have.
Agreed. And I think that's a really important part of the book. It shows that we were very much, in many ways, an average family, with something very special, with having my father being so famous.
Absolutely the last question. How many years you been coming to this jazz festival?
Our first jazz festival was 1963. I was 13 years old. It was in our backyard, so that tells you.
Oh, okay.
I won't say how old I am, but it's been a long time.
Okay, great. Well, it's a pleasure having you here, Ms. Robinson. Please show the audience your book once more time, Stealing Home. Definitely get out there and get it. Let's raise it a little bit higher. All right, Stealing Home, ladies and gentlemen. Don't steal the book, but definitely go out and buy it. Thanks again, Ms. Sharon Robinson. Okay. We'll be back with more on Bourbon Street. Buy the book.